Welcome back to our asynchronous video series, I suppose. It might be worth remembering that back in AW 1.8 was our last video. We talked about this new way of measuring angles, right? And so we know it's kind of like how a distance could be measured in feet, it could be measured in meters, and those are different units to measure distances. Similarly, angles can be measured in two different units. We, of course, are familiar with our normal degrees where, no angle is 0 degrees, and if I went in a full circle, that's 360 degrees. And really, this is just introducing a new way of measuring angles, and that is the radian. Now, a radian is defined as the angle, one unit of a radian, is the angle swept out. As a reminder, this is my circle with a radius of 1 lanyard. And a radian is the angle swept out by one radius along the circle. So if I take the radius of the circle here and I stretch it out along the circumference, something like that, roughly that. Let's see how I did. Pretty good, a little further. That distance swept out, the angle right here, this is 1 radian, and it's the angle formed by one radius of length on the circumference. So then the other thing that we talked about in AW 1.8 was that around a circle, right, there are a little over 6 radiuses that fit around a circle. In other words, 2 pi, right? So 2 pi just being a number, just being 6.28 radiuses would fit along a circle, and we went around and said, okay, well, if 6.28 or 2 pi fit all the way around a circle, what about half the circle? And we're like, cool, that would be pi radians. And we went on to make pi over 2 radians. And this would have been 3 pi over 2. And I hope you convinced yourself of this from our last video. You can always go back and watch that. And we found, right, if halfway was pi, then half of halfway would be pi over 2, and halfway of pi over 2 would be pi over 4 radians. And we connected that to 45 degrees. What we're going to look at today is what if I cut those into even smaller slices. So let's take pi, for instance, and I'm actually going to cut pi into this top half into 6 pieces. We can ignore the 45 for now because it's not one of my pieces. So cutting pi, or 180, into 6 pieces. Here's where we're going to test our fraction skills. If I cut pi into 6 pieces and I want to go around labeling each of those pieces, each piece is 1/6 of pi. Or in other words, this would be pi over 6 radians. 3.14 divided by 6, about a half radian, right? So this would be the length of around half the radius would fit right here. And of course, if this is pi over 6, this is 2 pi over 6. And then in the middle, we would have 3 pi over 6, because each slice is 1/6 of pi. And then I can keep going. And these would be the radian measures for the top half. Of course, the other thing you might notice is that we can also simplify some of these, right? 2 pi over 6, that 2 over 6 is the same as 1/3. Or in other words, just pi over 3. And of course, 3 pi over 6, 3 over 6 is the same as 1/2, just pi over 2. So just call that one pi over 2. As we have here. Simplifying again, 4 pi over 6 would just become 2 pi over 3. And then 5 pi over 6. If we wanted to, we could even think about pi as 6 pi over 6. Of course, the 6's would simplify to pi. That brings us to your asynchronous assignment. I would like you to please first fill out the degree measures for each of these 6th slices, and then also fill in the corresponding radian measures for each of these lines. Once again, on our way to building a unit circle, really steeped in our understanding of trigonometric relationships and angle measures. Bonus points if you also submit a picture of you wearing a costume. All right, I look forward to seeing your work. Let me know if you have any questions. Go get them.